My girl, come chill.
Really?
Ah, I like it too. You know what I mean?
Spit your game, talk your shit, grab your gap. Spit your game, talk your shit, grab your gap. Spit your game, talk your shit, grab your gap.
That's it.
What up?
Yo, what's good? What's good? It's your boy Biggs in the fucking building.
Yeah, you don't know
Yeah.
who worked the mic.
I guess you don't know how to rock the mic, boy.
Can't help me. I can only tell you I can hold it like this.
You don't have to show me how to hold it. I got it. I know how to hold it.
Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Biggs. You already know it's another session to talk your shit. Honestly, you know we always trying to update and upgrade ourselves. So you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we got a little better with the set. You know, we got nice little mics, nice table, backdrop, all of that. Just for y'all, man. Because honestly, we know that we owe it to y'all to not only keep it live with our conversation, but also to make sure that we keeping it live with our visuals. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate y'all. So, like I said, it's your boy Biggs. Hello. You know what I'm saying? And my co-host to my left is...
Hey everyone, I'm Snau. You already know, the girl with all the info. What's up? Missed you guys.
And I'm Shata Don, the man with the Yoni plan, as you already know. So, you know, welcome. This is what, the 6th week now?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
6 weeks. A month and a half.
Oh,
You know what I'm
We're
saying?
going good.
Straight off. Straight off the bat.
we're going good. Even though we had to delete 1 week because it was.
Yeah, I feel like we owed it to y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all been rocking with us heavy as shit, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, we appreciate y'all. You feel me? But, we got a live show for y'all today.
Oh,
Yeah.
And the shit that we finna talk about right now, whoo, might make your head blow off. You know what I'm saying?
Might make you want to clear your throat a little bit.
Yeah, oh,
Like your lips.
wow, spoiler.
The velvet.
Spoiler.
The velvet throat.
The velvet.
Spoiler.
Yeah, that's me.
Velvet.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
I am the velvet throat.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever he is, he'll be a very lucky guy. Look.
Whoa.
Y'all heard it? I know y'all just
I
heard
know
it.
y'all heard that.
Shit.
Woo. You know what I'm saying?
That's her knocking at the door. Shit.
I gotta teach that technique to
Yeah,
it.
you gotta teach that one real quick.
It's kind of, it's
I
like,
like
it's
it.
like squeezing your vagina, doing your Kegels, and you just in your throat. It's amazing.
I could get how you squeeze the Kegels, but what you put in your throat to practice that?
Well, first of all, I don't even want to know. Fire. Why for you, dog?
Ask the question for
No,
the
but
ladies.
no, you don't ask the question. Let her explain it. Fire.
Okay, yes.
Fire. Hey,
So tell
yo,
her.
whoever see this, put the fire in the chat. No. Why for you, sir? Why? Why for you? You gonna talk about how do you get... No, I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that. I don't need to know that. I don't need to know.
She's still gonna
All
talk
I
about
need to
it,
do is feel it. She gonna talk about it.
Oh, tell me.
How do I practice that? I mean,
Inquiring minds want to know.
Right, I don't put anything down my throat per se. I just and when it's there, then I know what I'm doing. That's it. When there's a dick in my mouth, it's going down my throat. I know how to exercise my tonsils in my throat.
Oh, I
I'm just
see.
saying, I'm gonna need you to get like, you know.
Ladies.
Specific?
Yeah,
because
these are all
Nothing.
spoilers.
There's
And fellas, these are all spoilers.
Yes.
These are all freaking spoilers.
Listen,
You get what I'm saying? Because honestly, I think you might even catch on already to what we about to fucking talk about tonight.
No, not necessarily. Just
it's
go
in the
ahead.
title.
Oh yeah, forgot about the title.
It's in the title.
It's in the goddamn title. But
They
guess
know.
what?
What?
It's in the title.
We not taking it no more.
Okay.
All right? This is a new goddamn age.
Yes.
If you ain't doing shit like that, somebody already put fire.
Listen,
Sorry.
listen.
Thank you,
reason
my
why-
people.
I think
Thank
he
you,
was talking
my
about me.
This the reason why.
No.
Trying to blaze
No.
up over here. And she
No.
told me how to stay right here.
No. Fire mode.
Listen.
Straight fire boy. Call the ambulance.
Listen.
Call the fire truck.
Everybody knows me, know that I ask these questions of women because I need to know what to tell that
Yeah,
girl.
but the way you answered it, boy.
I ain't answer nothing.
Yeah, the way you asked it, boy. I'm sorry.
You listening.
It's okay.
It's the way you listening.
No, it's not the way I'm listening. It's the way you putting it in the universe.
It's the way you listen.
Okay.
Fire.
Separate corners.
Anyway.
What is the sex news of the
The
week?
sex news of the week is, let's just put it out there. Sex news of the week is you should not accept or settle for a relationship without oral sex. Period.
Amen.
We have the article there, actually, and really and truthfully, if you want to brush up on it and read up on it, it's very serious. First of all, if you are not taking it to a higher level with your sex partner, just be prepared to get cheated on. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like that's the basic though.
No, but that's what I'm saying to you. A lot of people are, well, not a lot of people, but some people are out there still not doing it. You know what I'm saying? And that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? But then you want this person to be faithful, but you're not supplying a certain service that you need to be supplying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think, as a man, I ain't selling for that shit. You know, and I've been in relationships where, you know,
Roddy, what's
they
up,
really
boy?
Did that type of vibe. But
Hey, Rod.
you know, fucking with me,
Long
you
and
gonna do
thick.
it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's gonna happen.
Wait, what'd she just say?
I said, hey, Roddy Rod, Mr. Long and Thick.
Hey, yo, so
Yes, where my listening to?
So what's going on here? She's engaging with fans like that?
Ivante said
Yes,
facts. Big
no.
facts.
Yo.
Yeah,
No. Is going. Hey, yo. All right, let me stop.
Yes, continue.
Don't let me. I can stretch that out now.
No, let's not.
So for me, I mean, how's the importance for you, man, as a woman?
Oh, for me, it's very important.
Gotta have it, right?
Yes, because I definitely want to give it to the person that I'm with, and I definitely want him to give it to me.
So I heard a story today, right? And I'm about to tell the goddamn story. I ain't gonna call who told me the story.
Okay.
But I heard a story today about two people that's been, you know, teasing each other and kind of, you know, since they were like young. Like they keep hitting and missing type of vibe.
Right.
When they finally had the opportunity, dude didn't even want his dick sucked.
What? Hey, no. Let's talk about it.
Check it out.
Hold up.
It was like
He said.
he couldn't explain himself in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hold up. So you're saying that this dude was offered the fellatio
At a high ratio.
at a high ratio.
Whoa, how high was the ratio?
It had to be high because
At a
she's
high
offering.
ratio.
Yeah, oh my God.
All right, and you telling me
Was it about a time and place?
It don't matter about the time of
I'm just asking.
Fellatio is good at any time.
No.
No, yeah, I agree.
No. See, the time and place was set.
Especially in the car.
It wasn't even a spontaneous like,
Thank
yo.
you.
Especially in the
Ha!
car.
For real, he is
At
gay.
lunchtime.
For real, he is gay. He got to be gay.
And let me tell you,
that nigga gay.
This chick is bad. She ain't.
And that makes it
she bad.
even worse.
Yeah.
She
like-
bad.
That makes it even
I felt
worse.
like I couldn't even explain what happened because, you know, they knew each other for a while type of vibe, but they always had a hit and miss type of relation. So they never got it in. But she basically cornered him, pinned it down, and was like, it's happening right now. And dude chickened out.
Is it because
Hold
he
on,
would get hard?
whoa.
Did he get hard?
He chickened out the whole thing.
Let's analyze this. Like I said, let's talk
I've
about it.
never heard of such behavior.
So we're
before like that.
analyzing this now. So hold up.
Yes.
So I'm not saying you. I'm just using an example.
Right.
So you corner this dude. All right. You got his dick all out, and this nigga chickens out and says, "No, I can't do this. Oh my God, no. It's just not gonna happen. I can't. No. What's going on? What's really going on here?"
Like the 40-year-old virgin.
You're right. Wait a minute. I'm
not ready.
Not like.
Whoa, that's gonna go in your mouth? No, I can't.
Wait.
No, not ready. No.
Wait.
Oh my God.
Why is this happening?
Why? Wait, what is that?
Be careful. I'm ticklish. I might kick you. You know. Nigga, grow a pair of balls and shove her head on your crotch.
Like all the way.
Listen, if it was me, y'all already know what I would have done.
Yo, he should have just been like, get on your motherfucking knees.
I think he's scared of his power. A lot of males are scared of their
like
power,
like
yo.
She was definitely
That's what
like
I'm
that.
saying.
Especially if she's offering it, she was like, oh, wait a minute, I wasn't ready, but damn.
Right.
She was ready to get it.
A lot of
Let me
males,
listen,
a lot. Oh, see what I'm saying? Ladies, let me make this clear. First of all,
like oral.
no, but what I'm hearing, you want to know, here's the epidemic, why I actually kind of chose this segment as well, because I've done my research. I've been talking in the field with certain people. Y'all know that I'm a strip club DJ, and, you know, I actually talk to certain people. So, you know, we have different conversations, and you would not believe the amount of strippers that do not like to get their pussy ate.
Why not?
That's what I said. It
we
was
don't need
crazy.
a stripper to comment on this.
Right. No, for real. Like, this is what I'm like, huh? Like, you know, I had to get, when I heard the conversation, I had to engage, and I'm like, you telling me you love to suck dick, but if your man try to eat you out, you don't want that? That's just like the dude.
Maybe they grew up
maybe
they grew up on a mentality like the Jamaican mentality, for example.
No, let's not go there.
Hold on.
Oh my God.
Hold on. Like the Jamaican mentality, for example, right? I carried that mentality for a long while. But
yeah, we know.
I'm talking about it from a female perspective now, right? I've met females till today, right?
Yeah.
That has that culture, and if a man go down for me, I can't respect him.
Oh, wow.
I don't understand the buffoonery.
Hold on, let's talk about that.
That's a little scary.
Let's analyze that. Hold up. So you saying that, you telling me,
Hey,
what's up,
baby.
Amanda, baby? How you doing? You know what I'm saying? So you're telling me that, ladies, and I need y'all to let me know, drop it in the comments, let me know what's up. You really can't respect a man if he eats your pussy? I don't know.
It's a culture.
Hold on a second. Let me ask a lady right now. Snow.
Yes.
He creep up on your ass.
Yes, he sure did.
It popped up
Like, damn. Like, I
Like
was.
the Matrix in
Right?
this motherfucker.
Like,
Yeah,
I
no,
was
he
lying
do like
right back. All right. Yes. Okay.
So you
go.
telling
We've been there.
So you
Let
telling
me
me?
adjust myself real quick. Okay, I'm
Oh,
ready.
here we go for the
Go.
fans. They about to
Adjust
just
yourself.
get
Go,
all.
go,
They
go.
about to go crazy for it.
Anytime you do that shit, they ain't listening to us
Oh,
no more.
she tugging on the titties. No, but is there like a certain level where if a man crack your leg open like crab legs, you just can't?
I won't respect him if he doesn't do it correctly.
Now
Oh,
we
okay. Now we talking.
Now we saying the right thing.
But at the same time, I'll also show him, how to do it correctly. Like,
There
I'll
we
take
go.
I'll take the tip of his dick and show him how it's done.
Give me that.
But yeah, as far as
Hello.
losing respect for him, like if he does it,
I just thought about that. She said take a tip of his dick. I just thought
yeah,
about
it's just like the
mouth
clip.
to
You
mouth.
take the tip of it and you
It's
just show
like,
him how you do it. Fast, slow, all around.
Imagine me
Suck
looking
on
down
it,
at that
kiss
shit. That
it.
looks amazing.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
So yeah, like all love and respect. But the thing is too, people don't realize that oral sex is a higher sense of intimacy.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
You find somebody that you want to do that to, that level of sexual endurance and hunger, desire, that goes to a fucking different level.
But
That's-
and I very much, and I very much agree, and that's what they was also saying in the article as well.
Yeah.
That basically it's a higher level of intimacy, and it makes it's that's why you have foreplay. I'm kind of stumbling over my words right now because I'm trying to choose the proper words for y'all.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, y'all suck a dick, y'all eat a pussy. Stop playing with your life.
Exactly.
All right?
Yeah.
Honestly, fellas, I'm gonna give y'all a theory that I've lived by. I've lived by for the longest time. All right? Women are carrying the cradle of life.
Yeah.
You understand?
The yoni.
The yoni, son. All right?
Facts.
Now, in order for a whole babies come out of their vagina, it must be fortified with 14 vitamins and minerals, nigga. Get healthy and eat some pussy, nigga. Fuck is wrong with you?
Listen. Now I gotta.
You know what I'm saying? Now hold up, I'm about to say this as well. Now, ladies, I'm sorry, I don't mean it. Ladies, sausage is high in protein.
That's true.
Okay.
So, hey, listen, like my Latin women say, Goya. So, eat all that Goya. chorizo. You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
Let me get that. All of that. You can't. That country sausage, it's always going to do you up. I bet you each and every one of y'all that's tuned in right now, that's ladies, y'all love the taste of a country sausage. Let's get it.
She was hanging on to your words.
Okay.
Like, what?
So here's where I'm kind of shifting the news a little bit, but this is in the same segment, right?
Right.
Okay, so a lot of females, and I'm just rolling on y'all tonight with this,
Right?
right?
Thank
So
you.
she'll suck your dick. I mean, real good, right?
Right.
Hold on. You talking
Get
about
nasty with it.
you talking about that one that make you speak in tongues? Shanda.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
nice
Make you go to
shit, right?
church, nigga.
Right.
Oh, trust.
But
Oh Lord. Good
But-
Lord.
But
she won't kiss you.
What
Does
kind
that
of
make
shit
any
is
sense?
that? Well, hold up. Hold.
Order to a different
The fuck up.
situation.
I mean, it's still
I mean, we can look at
topic. I get it.
Yeah, no, but we can look at it in two different ways.
This is relationships.
We can
Oral
kind of
sex.
look at it in two different ways.
I know why I don't, but
Okay.
I'm gonna explain that in a minute.
Yeah,
Because
why
we
don't
talking
you?
our shit, you know.
So you don't like to be kissed
Talk
after
your shit.
your dick gets kissed?
No. I don't like to be kissed by people I don't know good yet.
Okay.
I need to know your freak level
Oh, all right.
before I kiss you.
That's
Here's
a
the
lie,
reason
bro,
why.
because you be
Here's the
bringing
reason why.
females' freak level up out of them. You the yoni master, nigga.
That's what I do.
We
so
see
I
that
get
shit.
To know.
No, don't be trying to trick people now. Don't be acting coy now.
Listen.
Let's fucking talk
Kissing
about
is
it.
great. I ain't saying kissing ain't great.
Right.
All that intimacy and all that stuff. It's still
Right.
all
Might be
foreplay. A lot of yoni, just getting started in their freakiness. And, get a lot of ways that we need to, right? So, on the bottom line of everything, we're buffering. You guys let us know if we're buffering for you, all right? Or we're still coming through great, because all my systems are going. So, basically, this is the situation, right? I've met females that have suck a dick here, dick there, do that there, and
Right.
then come kiss you. I don't want that mixed mask. I gotta know her level of freakiness.
I get it.
You get what I'm saying? That's
I
why
get it.
I'm cautious about the kissing part. Like, you bring me some man parts to my lips. That's the part I'm crazy with. You feel what I'm saying? So I gotta know.
That can happen.
It done damn happened. I heard some stories too.
There are some,
First of
interesting women out there.
first of all, let me make this quite clear.
Just suck one dick at a time, ladies. It's all right.
I'm just saying, suck and brush.
Mouthwash in the car is a necessity.
You feel me? Suck and brush.
You know what I'm saying?
So take whole baths and suck and brush.
You feel me?
No, so basically you're dating a prostitute. I got you.
That's
Whoa.
all I want. Well, not even, because some of them didn't even get paid for it.
Look.
I would respect it more if it was a prostitute.
I can't do it.
I'm just saying. My
Yo,
thing is, no swapping people. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, listen.
got you,
First
I
of
got
all,
you.
if you fucking with a main person,
Yeah,
then yeah,
that shit is beautiful.
that shit is dope. You know what I'm saying?
Anytime, anywhere, on site.
I don't give a fuck. Like, honestly, I'm not gay. My love pom pom, yeah?
Yes,
My
man,
love
all day.
blood
Sundays,
clot
all
pom
day.
pom. But you see, if you're
Yeah,
my
man,
gal,
read
my main squeeze, my thing, will lay up in my house. When I talk about the one them where you fuck in your car and then you left them on roadside. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I got Jamaican for a second because
Yeah, definitely.
it's
We see
very
that.
important.
I see.
I had to emphasize
Yes.
on that.
Alright. One emphasize as the
Yes.
world panel about to become Jamaican.
straight
alright,
up.
go on now.
Straight up.
Let's
So-
see it, Josh. Go on now.
Yes, it.
But
Pum pum contagious.
Right?
what?
It
is.
From a touch one, me I forget the rest.
Alright then, seriously.
Yes, it.
Go on now.
From it, think about it.
Shut
It's
your
just,
team.
you know what I'm saying? It just
It does.
freeze. But what man says, like Alkaline said, position, my girl. come true.
Yeah.
But what man say is
Yeah,
like,
that's something that you are. Yeah.
I'm gonna wanna fuck.
but when you're off, hey yo, I know y'all don't look. We gonna get back into this ring. Like talk. I know some of y'all like. Hold up. First of all, when did this shit get international? We start talking different tongues.
Languages. And just
Whoa. Now we need subtitles. What the fuck going on?
We're tongue international. We're not discriminate against pussy.
Yeah. Honestly, just what I'm trying to say is this though, for real, y'all.
Laughing back and
I can't.
No, yo.
She's speaking into the mic.
Right. It's like it's the way I was doing it. I was like that. I'm sorry. You didn't see that.
she wanna cut your sauce.
Yo, I swear.
So Snow wants a sausage. She wants chorizo.
No, listen.
She wants
apparently
the Goya.
At this moment, I do. Like, yo, my body just said, "Lean forward, bitch." Like,
So we're talking about oral sex.
we are
And
in relationships. Apparently, this mic right here is my boyfriend.
You know what I mean?
You know?
I see.
Like, yeah.
Whoa.
I say you do it. I save that for her. Save that for her.
So it's gotten very entertaining in the studio right now.
You're putting me on the spot.
Well, at least I didn't touch your spot.
Good spot.
Like I said, so I can't. I'm off. Listen, I'm off the sauce. I'm sorry, not every song, because I'll be in the studio. But every show I'm on the sauce, so y'all can't really like listen to what I say.
You go.
So anyway,
That's how you get the truth all the time.
Exactly.
it's my truth.
Go ahead, sip
Right,
it.
it's a truth, sir. Keep
What's the
sipping,
truth? What's the truth?
nigga.
Come on.
Keep
Yeah.
sipping. So you can talk your shit.
Yeah.
I will talk my shit.
Tell me what you mean squeeze now. Come on here.
Don't-
Whoa. First of all, how you gonna tell people like that I'm, you know what I'm saying? Yes, I got a main girl. Yes, I do.
I said, tell me about your mean squeeze. How you squeeze her?
Oh, I squeeze it like a bag full of lemons. You know what I'm saying? You gotta make that lemonade. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See?
Sweet, nice. You add a little sugar.
He ain't thirsty no more.
I've never been thirsty.
He's
love
good.
him.
He's good.
Never been thirsty. Let me stop playing though. But for real though, y'all need to start really exploring the more intimate things with your partners. Like for real.
Definitely.
Like it keeps relationships together. It really does.
It does.
If y'all grow sexually, y'all grow spiritually.
What? Amen. In fact.
That I had to put that out as real shit. We all
No,
good
it's
in
real.
jokes and shit,
No,
but I had
it's
to.
real.
But the professor had to squeeze one in there, bro.
Can I be
Like
myself?
real
for a
shit.
second?
Yeah. Always be yourself, my G. Come
myself.
on, my guy. What are you doing?
They Bring out,
Talk your shit.
bring out the yoni master for a second.
Go.
Yo, bring that
Yeah,
nigga out,
yeah.
bring
You
that
have to
nigga
lift the
out.
shirt and everything.
The yoni master for a second. You know what I
All
mean?
right.
Yeah,
Go on. Chat your thing, you know. Go on.
Listen. Cut the fuck on this fork.
Yeah,
Put the sausage in the mouth. Zane.
yeah.
And guys, damn some pussy. It's healthy for you. I'm just explain.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? All the 45, every baby come out of them thing there. You know it good.
it has-
Eat some pussy. Right?
you saw that. Y'all saw that, right? I'm not okay.
You
I'm not
miss it.
making it up. I'm not
Nah,
imagining things.
Me missing, so she have to do it again.
So wait a minute, time out. So hold
What?
on. Hey Snow, have you? Never mind. I'm not gonna ask. I'm not gonna ask.
Talk your shit.
I'm not. You want me to talk my
Why?
shit?
Because the
Talk your
tongue
shit.
moves so fast?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we want to see it. Oh, you do it.
How have
Let
you?
me
You want to
see.
know if me y'all
Yeah.
pum pum?
If you ever nyama pum pum?
No, I have not eaten any pussy. No, I
Why
have
not?
Because
That-
Don't worry about
it
that.
hasn't been a part of my diet as of yet.
Don't worry.
I know it's a part of mine. Fuck the bullshit.
You know what
You know what I'm saying?
You know what Snow just told us?
As of yet?
Yes.
What up to everybody that's just tuning in? You know what I'm
is
saying?
possible.
We love y'all.
Easy to baby.
You know what I'm
love you so
saying?
much.
So like we said, we're gonna get into the next segment, and that's the sex position of the week. And honestly, I love.
Before you jump into that one for a second, right?
So
My browser acting up. But the stream
okay,
is still good.
okay, good. So
Now-
we still good.
Before we jump into that for a second, I just got one little question to ask.
Why you gotta kill?
One question to ask the
I
audience.
was about to,
Right.
harness my cheek.
Hold on, on the cheek. Hold on, on the cheek. You know what I mean? Listen, I just want to know, like, we got to get some follow-ups and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
y'all let us know what y'all feel about this oral
Let me know.
sex thing.
Let me know if anybody tried the sex position from last week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely let us know because we giving y'all these things to help y'all with in the bedroom, man. You know what I'm saying? So whether you got one person or you got a, you know what I'm saying? What's going on with the stream, bro?
Nothing. It just said they were buffering. You guys buffering?
All right.
Yeah, are you guys buffering?
You know,
Let us
Anyway,
know.
it don't matter. So we gonna still rock with
we
you.
like both things, you know. So,
We're like, we got both bed, both bed.
Yeah,
Nah, I'm
so-
You're
sorry.
so Jamaican tonight.
I'm very
Make you
Jamaican.
go on buffer, is
My
it?
goodness.
You wait till I get in. You wait till I get in my Haitian mode, my Haitian poppy mode.
Oh shit. Okay. I
You don't.
understand.
Oui, mon
want
cher.
it. Go ahead.
No,
Go
oh
ahead.
shit.
Oui, mon cher.
Oh, we won't shut
Go ahead.
this
Over when you broke up your own, huh?
What?
Meza.
Miss me. Oh
No, go
shit.
on.
Alright, puppy.
People that go get
Okay.
paid.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Look, don't do it. I'm international with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not playing. I'm getting all of y'all. Anyway, let me stop.
I can't.
did
So,
Roddy love it? I don't know what you just did, but Roddy watch it.
It was the speed tongue.
The speed tongue.
what?
That
Yeah.
what
That's
call
what
it?
you call it? That's what you call it?
Yeah, it actually feels really good.
You should
Balls.
do a ninja
So much-
sign before it, like, doom.
I just watch Airbender to do something.
Just do some shit. So, since we talking about G, and we harnessing it, and it seems so really good. The sex position of the week
Yes.
Yes.
is called the crouching tiger.
Crouching tiger.
Yeah.
Listen.
Basically, you have to understand what the crouching tiger is about. First of all, ladies, it's y'all time to take over.
It's our time to shine.
It's y'all time to fuck us.
I like the one here.
Yeah.
You understand?
I like the one here. But I have a
See,
lifestyle sometimes
y'all are cats, but y'all are not just simple cats. You know, y'all are, cougars.
Yes.
You guys are tigers.
Yes.
You know, you guys are jaguars. You know, cheetahs, if you will. See some of y'all with the little cheetah print. I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Alright.
You know.
Yeah.
So I think it was
As long
just
as it's a cat, he loves it. Go ahead.
your dick.
Every
Your dick.
Every cat
So-
start with pussy.
What? Pussy cat. That's what we're doing right now. Anyway.
Listen.
Whoa. Miss Amanda said great position. Boo.
Yes.
So you know
Yeah, thank you,
what
thank
I'm talking about.
Yes.
I love you for that.
Alright.
I'm gonna tell you
So,
why I like it.
no, go ahead. You know what? I'm going to let the professor speak last about this shit because it's about to get real biblical about
No,
this.
my own is real quick.
Go ahead, do
I
your
like it
thing.
because I'm lazy. I gotta do shit.
You know what? Yeah, no, actually, you do have to do a little bit, but,
I
you know.
mean,
No, just brace.
right.
I must
no,
go on.
no breast grabbing.
No, I hand up on the ground.
Oh.
And I feel him turn.
Alright.
It's almost like you're
Yeah.
supposed to be at a scratching post.
You
I
grab it,
mean,
let me see.
I get it.
Yeah.
But
Visuals.
I need to be touched.
Like sit back and watching a movie.
I need to be touched, or I need some kind of eye contact.
Yeah,
or
my cocky, I
something
touch your
in the
pussy.
position. Yeah,
We are
Jesus.
one.
Yes, we are definitely one.
Is
But
it?
I'm gonna take your fucking soul. In order for me to do that, you gotta touch me. I have to touch you.
Man, I feel like say you can choke me, that's the thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah, you
choke
just
me.
hold back, just
We
ha.
choke each other.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
Lord.
the choke
Do
each
y'all-
other, I'm definitely have to touch you. 'cause that's my
Imagine,
thing.
like, I'm in this position
Yeah.
and I start riding you and I start fucking you harder and you're pulling
Yeah.
on my hair. The more you pull on my hair, the more you choke me, the harder I go. So you're pleased either way.
She's trying to have somebody bust up inside that belly.
Yeah,
The
like
way
a fucking
she's talking.
P80. Bust
Whoa!
it, P80. Fuck yeah.
Shooting up the club, extra clip, shooting up the club. Oh, yes. That's what we love. Fuck you talking about.
You good?
You tell me to imagine.
He just went into a total different dimension.
I listen.
Hey, yo. He was like,
Oh my God.
I listen. You say imagine this.
Right.
yo, he went into a
Listen.
total different dimension.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what's up.
I saw that.
I feel you, bro. I feel you, bro. You had to go. You
The
had to.
professor was the student.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
I've been learning how to got a position.
Hey, man.
Imagine too, like
but-
I'm sitting
Yeah.
in that position and I lean in and I act like I'm gonna kiss you, but I just lick your lips and suck on your bottom lip. You know what I mean?
Bottom
Just
lip.
teasing. There's so much you can do. The bottom lip.
Whew.
There's so much. You
Ladies,
can do.
take notes.
Yeah.
Take notes. Because I'm telling you right
I
now.
like active.
Like
sex.
it.
I'm trying to tell you. Take
It's
notes.
so here.
Because. All right, I'm trying to tell you. If y'all start doing
Say a
this.
word I like too, man.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to follow what we say and what we do. Because I'm
You look
telling
high
you.
right now.
Yeah, listen. She says like active sex. Listen, I'm telling you, that's my gym.
It's the best cardio in the world. Y'all need to
Sure.
understand, and I'll say it again. Sexual intercourse is the best cardio in the world. It jacks up your heart rate.
Yeah.
It engages all of your muscle groups
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
one
At
time.
one time, yep.
Not only that, but honestly, okay, I'll forget all of that.
Right.
Why do you think the biggest...
Mental state. It's good for depression. It's good for sadness. Listen,
It's good for everything.
anger. Like it's just healthy.
According to Snow, she fucked on every emotion.
I do.
So,
I do.
so-
Actually, it's so
Perfect,
funny.
yeah.
I even have sex when I have a fever. Yo, something about my body.
No, it'll
when it
sweat.
heats up,
But,
I just get really
but you know what I mean?
Wow.
I don't want to do that
It's
because
crazy.
what's messed up is
Going up.
I've done that before,
Yeah.
and then she just transferred the fever to me, you know, and the
no.
antibodies is messed up.
That was my fucking experience.
Selfish
Listen,
Nah, bro,
Listen.
don't try. No.
listen. I ain't gonna
I
lie.
want to be fucked on a
Listen,
fever. Okay.
I ain't gonna lie. The pussy was
Well,
good.
you know what? Get a dildo because I'm not doing
I'm
this.
gonna rape you. It's
The
gonna
pussy was
happen.
good,
I'm
but
gonna say it right here.
That's a lie because she was contagious and she just had her fucking sniffles and cold and shit.
listen.
Nah, I'm not
I
doing
swear to
it.
God, that was my experience. Like
Yeah,
that,
bro, you
I
had- you
that
did it
type
too,
of
didn't you?
experience. Listen, the chick came and she was just like, but I wanted the pussy, so I ignored it.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's like, yeah, ooh, we got into it. All right, the pussy was good, but the next day, the fuck?
I can't smell, nigga.
Why is my nose stuffy? The fuck?
You roll over, she.
Listen.
Oh, great day, you know. Chest
Yeah,
all out.
all
and shit.
great now. Like,
No,
bitches
fuck
just got
you,
over that
man.
shit. That-
Fuck you, man.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, you don't have to just watch out for STD. Watch out for the sniffles.
Right. Well, you gotta watch out for everything that's contagious, man. Like,
Yeah,
just be.
listen, it was a.
Look, listen. I'm a considerate fuck. Okay, and what I mean by
Well,
that-
not with that.
No, listen.
Wait,
May
you have
I
to explain
speak?
this. So
Go
many
ahead.
levels.
All
I'm
right,
sorry.
so
I'm sorry.
I'm a considerate fuck, okay? So here's what I
Fuck
mean
you
by
considerably.
that. Absolutely. So
sorry.
listen, if I know that I have a fever, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna face each other. I'm gonna have a mask on, and you're gonna fuck me
Oh,
until
she
I'm
gonna
good.
do doctor style.
I got you, baby. I'm here to take care of you, make
Nurse
sure
Snow.
you're good. Just like you
Nurse
take care
Snow
of me.
around this motherfucker, boy.
Hell, I'll put my head underneath the covers and just poke my pussy and my ass out. We're good.
Okay. Okay. You know what? We gonna get back to this crouching tiger real quick.
What they say when you do this? What they say when you?
Oh, it's good. It's all good. Let's get back to this crouching tiger.
That's what I'm talking about.
So, ladies,
Crouching tiger.
this position, if you have a little booty, specifically targeting my girls with the little booty, y'all matter. I love y'all.
We
Yeah.
matter. Little booties
You know what I'm
matter.
saying? Little booties matter. The shirt's coming soon. Stay
Yeah.
tuned for that.
All right.
Anyway, listen. If you are, it's almost like doing like these. I don't know how to explain it better than this, but a rolling squat. It's like you go backward and forward, come up, come down again. It's a crouching tiger. So it's literally you are simulating a crouching tiger. Okay? Now, all of your leg muscles and your core muscles are engaging. So just in case you want to tighten up that that midsection as well,
It's definitely a great
have your man get it done.
So
Get
guys,
it down. No. But the guys are more receiving. But guys, if you want to engage your core more on this position, what you need to do is go ahead and lift up your
Help
hips.
her.
Right.
Just thrust your hips.
Just
You know, lift up your hips more, and that will engage your midsection as well
And
as.
arms, don't forget to lift, because if she's like this, he can hold her here and just lift. As she
Well, I feel you on that, but the actual position requires
His hands
that
be down?
his hands to be more down, his legs at a 45-degree angle. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that way,
Grab me.
right. I'm fucking up, man. This shit is too. You can't fucking write this shit. That's why we do lives. Because you can't write this shit. So, she over here having a moment. You know what I'm saying? Getting dickmatized in her head.
Yeah, she fuck herself in the head
She
all the
fucking
time.
the shit out of somebody
all the
in her
time.
head.
Sometimes I'm at work and I'm fucking myself.
Listen, I had that experience.
I'm telling you.
You won't even say it.
Like, I go into a different zone, I'm like,
I'm sorry my work folks might be watching. I don't do that.
oh wow.
So to end the position
So
of
my
the
work
week.
folks are not watching, so I'm good.
Oh my god.
I do that.
I'm gonna take another sip because this shit is too funny.
Listen.
Really quick. So yesterday, I was like at the horniest I've ever been. Like,
How did you know that?
How did I know that?
How
'Cause
did you know that?
I literally almost stopped off at a sex store to buy a vibrator. Like, literally.
That's not being the horniest. You want to know what's being the horniest? Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna explain
Let me
to you.
finish.
Horniest
I'm gonna let
she's
you.
ever been.
It
Oh, the
was-
horniest she's that.
Yeah.
No, not ever
She's a pretty
been. But
horny
like,
person.
right. The thing is, it was just on a different level. It was just like everything was stimulating my pussy, like every single thing. Like every time I moved in my chair, I was just like, what's going on with me? Like I literally had to go to the loo, but it wasn't enough. Like I came, but it wasn't enough. I went back to my desk and I wanted more. I wanted more and more and more.
You greedy bastard.
Yo, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
It was definitely ridiculous.
Yes. And I was just like, yo, what's
Ridiculous.
going on?
But-
But wait, I came
get the point.
like after work, I masturbated in the car and then I drove home. Right? So by the time I got home, I was like really exhausted. So I was tired. I ended up going to karaoke. So yeah, I did. I went out last night. I did. So I went to karaoke and while I'm standing there, like in the club, I started watching our beautiful young lady. And I was like, oh fuck, yeah, oh my god. And I got even hornier. And I was just like, damn, man. Like,
You see?
You
You
know?
see? She got the people in good club with her honest self.
watching porn. Watching porn on my cell phone.
Watching our porn star of the week.
Right. You see? Y'all
Ladies.
gotta get right with this, man.
That was my random moment.
No behavior.
I'm sorry, that was my random
And
moment.
uno must follow exactly what she do.
Okay.
I think that y'all should go out and snow. Maybe one day we'll give away a little
Hangout
treat, hangout time.
Oh, you guys
and
will
send
so
y'all.
enjoy
And the
that.
day with snow.
Oh my God, you heard how she
Listen,
said that?
y'all can't be bedroom freaks and go out with snow. Y'all better be prepared.
Nah, Snow got to teach all these girls what it really do. But that's another time. That's for another time. But we gonna get which brings us into, because Snow brought it up already.
Yes.
Right.
The porn star of the week.
So
Now, honestly, I definitely picked this, but Snow definitely concurred with me on
I
this
did.
one
Facts.
because she is such a star. You know, it's not like the one that Sheldon chose with the Shylock nose. And,
me like when I
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm not gonna let that slide. No. Kiera, and then he tried to get on my pick. And then we have 2 out of 3 that concurred with this. First of all, on all spectrums of porn, period, she's a performer. BDSM, cream pie, group sex.
Yeah.
Like, the list goes on, and
Here she is.
she's a great performer in all.
Here she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell me. Anybody ever seen this girl? Now,
But
right
that's
here.
why we highlighting her, because people don't see the good performers, bro. It's only freaks like us that really know him.
Wait. You use the word good. That is your word.
Right.
Speak for yourself. Because I watched some of her videos when y'all brought this up.
Okay.
He just
You
hating.
watched the one that I sent you?
He's hating.
It's because she doesn't have the hook nose.
Yeah, it's because she not white like the Shylock nose.
White with this.
And he love horseshoes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm
She
saying?
doesn't have a horseshoe.
They gotta have a horseshoe or
First
a Barbie.
of all,
you know what I'm saying?
That's not my first love.
Whatever.
Okay,
The Barbie is his first love.
I can't give out my first love.
Oh, you can?
No, I can't
Okay.
give out my first love because then
I got it.
pussy's gonna try to. Yeah, nah. Gotta keep the flow going. You know?
You a liar.
Yeah, so I ain't gonna get it out. Biggs he wrong. He don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about,
Yeah, that
ladies.
might be his first love.
Hey yo,
You know what I'm talking
check
about.
my resume, nigga.
So
Okay.
this chick right here is not. She ain't doing it for me.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. That's
I know why he. Hey yo, listen.
I'm
I'm not gonna say on the show.
Right.
I'm not gonna talk my shit.
Right.
My
Talk your
real
shit. Talk your shit.
Why
Talk your shit.
this girl don't do nothing for him?
Talk
You know
your
what I'm
shit.
saying? Because if I bring up my shit,
This is talk your
oh,
shit.
it's gonna get live.
No,
I have
let's
no-
not talk too much shit now.
Yeah,
I
right.
have
Let's
no-
save some
Listen,
shit talk
listen,
later.
listen.
You want to know why?
Y'all.
I'ma tell you why.
Okay,
Why?
tell me. I
In
wanna
your
hear-
ear.
I want to hear the
Okay.
bullshit. No. Turn this bitch up. Y'all gotta hear this.
Oh.
No dice. None whatsoever.
Oh.
Yeah, boy.
So quick.
Yeah.
Say it.
So
Say it.
No.
basically,
Okay.
y'all log on
I
X
wanna
videos. Straight up she does all the way through. Tell me I'm lying.
Talk it. Listen, I have zero closet. I got nothing in my closet. Listen.
Yo,
Alright.
he mad cause she resemble his ex-wife. I don't
That
care.
ain't it.
Yes, it is. Fuck you talking about?
That ain't it.
She's skinny. She
That ain't it.
She got the same body type.
But that pussy's just not attractive to me.
It's lies. She got a
She don't have a pretty pussy, and I like
She do.
PCP.
Yeah, she has PCP. You just lying. You are lying.
every time
You're a
you
hater. Just because you want to know what it is. He just mad because he always got outvoted. Snow, am I lying?
No.
I didn't get
You're not
outvoted.
lying.
Right? They just
Why
happen to
you
like
get dickmatized over
the
there?
same
No, no.
person
No.
and trying to jump on my girl that I slept
See what I'm
with a
saying?
couple weeks ago.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm
Talking
saying?
about she got a
He
hook
mad about
nose.
it.
A nose that's it?
He mad about it.
Come on.
She got a Shylock Jewish
Okay.
nose.
Come
That's
on.
okay.
All right, she looked like Elf.
The
That's
only
what
master
she
don't
looked like.
discriminate against.
She looked like Elf.
Listen.
She did.
The only master don't
Fuck
discriminate
outta
against any pussy.
Right.
But this girl doesn't have a PCP.
That's
She's
a
not in that
lie.
category for me.
That's a
So, I
lie.
can't gear.
We can respect that. That's just not
That's
his
my
thing.
thing.
Though. We
Yo,
get
he's
it.
saying that because he's hating right now. He hating
Maybe
heavily.
not because we didn't like his girl. We both didn't like his
Y'all hated.
We both.
That
We did
was
not
hating.
hate.
That was hating.
We was telling the
We
truth.
hate.
No facts
She
about
was
that.
That was
no.
straight
Certain parts
facts.
that she was dope at. It's just visually she
Mine
just
is
didn't do it
all
for us.
Right.
facts, y'all.
But little mama over
The
here.
nose. The
Anyway, y'all vote for here or no. Tell me if she hot or not. Look at some of her stuff. Cause to be real with you, y'all I think y'all like it. Cause the fact is we don't discriminate over here except
Right.
for him.
I like her dungeon stuff as a performer.
Her BDSM things are on
Coochie is
point.
just not for me.
Period. Her performance, her delivery, her fucking style ability.
Yeah.
It just looked like dry raisin.
Her
You're a liar. Now I know now he just making shit up.
Yeah, he's been
See
that right
see?
there was just like
He was
right there.
being so
I don't know what's
extra.
happening.
He was definitely
I
being
probably
extra
don't
right
look
there.
like that, but still.
He was being dead
But
extra.
her facial expression, her acting style, it's beautiful. She's talented.
Yes.
She is.
I get all
Yes.
this.
She's definitely my girl on girl go-to.
Yo, first of all, you know what? I'm gonna talk my shit about this real quick. Y'all go look at the video where supposedly she gets fucked at a party, at a live party one night.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay?
you tell me about that one.
And she starts going back around to the dudes that are in the neighborhood, the guys' houses that were at the party, trying to find this magical dick that she got fucked with.
That's a good ass.
Hold on.
That is a good
It's a
storyline.
great storyline. Come to
yeah.
find out, she comes home, she's frustrated. She done fucked like 5-6 niggas already for the day. All right, and even though she got fucked well, all right, she's like, they're still not it. She walked into her homegirl room, sees the dick that really did fuck her. Come to find out, it was her roommate's fucking boyfriend. She starts sucking his dick while they're sleeping.
Oh, wow.
Okay, wakes him up. She goes in the living room. She's begging for this. I'm talking about begging. Like, yo, I'll take anything you like. That's the way she. I want you every and anywhere. And the way she does it, it just make a nigga reconsider thinking about the boundary level, bro. Like, yo, like she's like, I want you to like, boy, y'all stop playing with these guys. Ladies, be that type of freak. Y'all need to really watch her, cause I'm so serious. If you ever like that with a dude, he's not. I don't care if you have the worst attitude in the world. He's really not going anywhere. I don't care what you say. If you are a freak like her, fuck what this nigga talking about. She got PCP, she got acting, and she's dope as shit with it.
She got CP,
and both me and Snow.
Wait,
First of all,
hold on.
both me and Snow co-sign it. Holla back.
Right, and there's also a scene where she's actually tied up. She's gagged.
Oh!
She's tied up.
Let's not talk about that.
Hogtied. She's hogtied.
Yes.
She has on this schoolgirl skirt.
Yes.
And these little panties, and she can't see anything because she's forward.
Yup.
And all these guys come in, they're moving her panties, and she gets fucked like hogtied and gagged. Like that shit is just unbelievably
like
wonderful.
they are not playing with her.
Fantasy coming true. Absolutely.
They not
Fantasy
playing
coming
with
true.
her.
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying? They not playing with her.
Fact.
Did you like that shit? I see, because you
See,
did. You want to get that done.
Can't get
to you,
past
don't
no
you?
PCP.
You want to get handled like a vampire would handle you, wouldn't you?
I'm gonna get her choice taken away just for an hour.
I want to die for a second. Come back to life.
Hey yo, hold up!
That shit doesn't.
Oh my god! What's up? Die for a second.
Now listen.
Now that's sexy. That's some Harley Quinn shit. No. Would you die? No.
Nah.
Would you live for me?
Yes. Absolutely. I die for a second and
so-
then I'll live. That's right.
You're so
I'll live for that day.
You know, yeah.
good. Yo,
You know who she gonna be Halloween, right?
you're just so good. Say it with me. Fun. Have fun.
Yes.
This is all about fun. It's
is.
all about spontaneousness.
Absolutely.
Suck a nigga dick. Eat a girl pussy. Try the positions.
You said that shit like Bernie Mac.
Like straight
And
up.
watch porn.
And watch the porn.
Yeah, stop it with all the cliche. I've heard women say, "I don't watch porn."
I
That
don't watch
shit-
porn.
Like,
You're-
shorty, please
you're
stop.
boring.
Like, please,
You're
stop.
boring.
Please take some lessons.
Please, you're boring.
and
No.
please touch yourself.
Right.
Please.
Please touch yourself.
Like, how the fuck you expect me to know what to do? You don't know what to do to your damn
Very
self.
true.
I'm walking out. That means you ain't got no
The
standards.
minute I say, "Do you masturbate?" Oh no, I don't touch myself.
You have no standards.
I don't do that.
I don't do that. Oh my god,
I
it's just a weird thing touching myself.
What?
What?
So you don't love yourself?
I can't consort with that level of intellect. It's too beneath me.
Thank you. You
You
know.
know, my God, I'm gonna start using my linguistic skills. You understand?
Yes, absolutely.
I'll give it people that is mentally circumcised.
Mentally circumcised. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, I don't understand it.
I'm just saying.
It's poppycock foolishness.
Yes, absolutely.
Bullshit.
You have
Yes, I agree.
Eat some things, right?
Fact.
If there's one thing I learned in life, I've met girls that straight off the bat they just bust their virginity and they're like, I want 5 niggas. Like, I just want to feel this, boom, boom, boom. Then I've met the ones that, okay, I just want one, I could do this, and maybe try. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you have the other ones that they've been broke out from mine.
Oh, okay.
You got the other ones that don't like to share.
You get me? But out of all of them, I just can't stand
Let me stop.
the ones that tell me, oh, I can't touch myself? What's that?
Why are you doing that?
I'd rather a man do it to me. How is he gonna do it to you? You know, do it to me.
Oh, so you and him gonna find out together, huh? You and him gonna find out together, huh?
You know what I mean?
Not every man knows how to touch.
That's a simple thing. Do you like outer stimulation?
Yo,
Good luck,
listen,
ladies. Good
I ain't
luck.
gonna lie, we gotta keep it moving. No, I
We
love
do.
the fact that, but like I said, comment
I'm
on
just
all
saying.
of it.
Yeah.
Because now it's time for Snow's segment. And I personally, am truly trying to tune into this myself. I'm right here next to her. But it's called For Her Pleasure. And y'all already know what this is, man. All right, so get your women, get your pen and pad.
I'm a great
fellas. Make sure you listen and tune in so you know what the motherfucking look for. You feel me? Because it's real serious.
Yeah.
Snow,
Yes.
you already know. Step up to the plate, baby.
Oh, thank you so much. You're so kind.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Don't be talking to me
So
like that.
today's For Her Pleasure. Oh my God. Today's For Her Pleasure, it actually coincides with everything that we just talked about, is intimacy. It's kissing during intimacy. Sex. Now, I've come to realize that a lot of people don't know how important kissing is. Now, I know you can't go around kissing everybody, but let's just talk about somebody that you're really intimate with and you're feeling and you have that connection with. And I noticed that guys, they'll kiss you, right? And it's amazing. And then they go down to your neck, and then they go to the chest area, then they focus on the breasts, and then the nipples, right? And then, you know, if they're gonna eat your pussy, they eat your pussy, whatever, come back out. And then all of a sudden the dick slides in. Here's the thing, there are other parts of my body that likes to be kissed too. Like, for example, I like to be kissed in the back of my neck, all the way down to my spine, to the nape of my back, right above my butt crack.
Yeah.
Okay, I like my ass cheeks kissed.
Word.
Now,
And
there are a lot of
maybe
women.
nibbled and bitten.
Absolutely, slightly bitten,
Go
maybe
ahead.
a little
No,
hard.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
So there are a lot of women, like, you have to remember there are other parts that excite. For example, if you figure out that your lady or whoever you're intimate with likes to be kissed in the nape of her back, when you guys are out together and you're, you know, and she's looking extra sexy, you could touch that spot slightly.
Touch him, because I ain't
You
that
can
one to be
touch-
played with like that.
You can okay.
Come on.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that to me. They know what's up.
You can.
They know what's up. You be stretched out on this glass table. Don't play.
Okay. I reload it. Okay. So, you touch me slightly, or a woman, wherever her spot is, if you touch, while you guys are out together in public and you touch that spot, you'll see her just, you know, in that chill. And I'm telling you, when you get back in that car, it's on sight. Your dick is getting sucked. Something is going to happen, you know?
Okay.
But anyways, focus on
Okay.
the other body parts, not just the breast, not just the neck, not just the cliche parts. There's the shoulders, there's behind the ears, there's the chin. Oh my God, the chin.
I know some
No idea.
some people ain't gonna like this, but the fact is, me, I'm gonna talk to my real freaks, because you a real freak.
Right.
Fellas, suck toes.
Oh yeah.
Why you in it?
Yeah, like
fetish is
there's
huge.
there's a part of your toe that you can suck that can actually make you come, ladies. Like
Which
the
part?
guys can suck it. Like right here in between that right here. Like it's insane. It's
Big toe and what, just
right
so
in
people didn't
between.
see?
So the big toe and the second toe, I don't know what that's
Second
called.
toe.
But like right in between there, when you lick that
Yeah,
part,
like-
it drives you
So
insane.
wait,
Right.
you
Right.
As a matter of fact, when you go to when you go to a sex store, right, and you're about to buy a vibrator, they have samples where you can test, not on your vagina, but for example, you can
Test it on
the
your
tip.
vagina. Fuck that.
You can test it on the tip of your nose
Oh.
and the chin and in between the toes. I guarantee you, it connects to your pussy. It does. That's how you know it's a good one.
Big
So,
toe.
anyways, yeah. So it's kind of like, as a matter of fact, a kiss on the nose is very sexy. Just like a kiss on the forehead is sexy, but
Right.
kiss on the nose, kiss on the chin. Just focus on other parts of the body too. You know, like behind the calf right here, just in between that area, the inner thighs, the outer thighs. I just want you to kiss me everywhere.
See,
I want you to
yeah,
roll me
but that's
over and
so
just kiss.
common, bro. Like
Right.
like all the dudes know the well, they don't know how to do it properly.
Right, some of them
But
don't.
they do like try.
Right.
But-
But here's the thing, it's like they get so excited and they forget just foreplay.
Yeah.
Foreplay is very, very important, and that's how you learn each other's bodies, you know. And that's what makes the sex even more exciting and more savagery.
But what if I just two away? What we go foreplay?
Okay, you sound real ignorant Jamaican.
Actually, no. Can I fuck with it?
That works, because my alter ego is a fucking beast and a savage.
But with me, I'm not going to lie. I have 12 play.
Oh shit! All right.
Like R. Kelly.
Like R. Kelly?
Exists.
Not exactly like R. Kelly.
All right, like the song then, 12 play. All right.
Yeah.
You're still taking
nobody
notes.
around here.
No, we're not pissed by nobody around here. No golden showers.
Wait, what if
Unless
she
you're
asked
into
you
that.
to? Okay.
Golden shower is fine, but
No, honestly, you want to know what I kind of feel crazy with is one of my favorite rappers. Like he told a sex story before on the Life After Day. He's like, this bitch wanted me to cock over and shit on her stomach. Now I ain't gonna lie, y'all be taking this shit a little bit too far. You know what I'm saying?
That's not sexual.
Dealing with the feces, that's not sexual. That's just
It's
real
unhealthy.
savagery.
It's not
that's
even
nasty.
savagery because
That's not
I'm a
good.
savage. No, it's not. It's just.
Oh yeah, we know
unhealthy.
we know you a savage.
Yeah, it's
Snow.
unhealthy.
We definitely know you a savage.
Can I just recap?
Yeah.
So you say I start from the nose, then the chin,
Right. The nose.
then the
and
neck,
chin,
then go on the back of the neck.
Right.
Hold up. Can I tell you something?
And there's
You ready
also
for it?
areas underneath the breast. Like if you grab it right, that's also very sensual and sexual.
Y'all seen this shit, right?
Under the breast.
Right, underneath the
Under
breast.
the breast.
Like, you know, men tend to just grab like this,
Yeah.
but
No.
you have to grab
Under
up.
the breast.
See,
Cup that
women, when they touch each other, they cup it and they
Yeah.
lift and they put their face there. Guys just grab it and just start
Nah,
squeezing.
not me.
You have to cup it.
You have to appreciate the breastises.
So, yeah.
The
So
tit
that was-
bitties. Good lord.
Absolutely. And when you get to the nipples, don't just stop.
Circular motions, counterclockwise,
Right.
clockwise.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
That.
Matter of fact, hold up. Paint your name.
Okay, there you go.
Learn something tonight, people.
Definitely.
Now,
Smooth
I'm going
it.
to tell you something about the nose, and I'm going to leave you with that because I love the way she brought that up.
Teach me.
Leaning like you're about to kiss your girl.
Mm-hmm.
Right when you're about to kiss your girl, hit the tip of her nose with the tongue. Just and sit back and look in her eyes.
Lessons.
Let me tell you something, boy.
You better take them
What's up,
three lessons
Snow?
here.
What you know about me, Snow?
Yeah.
Fat boy got nothing but Luther Vandross for you. You know what I'm
I
saying?
feel like all the people who do drugs know their move there now.
Nah.
You're fully educated now.
I'm just a vampire at heart.
Anyway, guys, I have been educated. I hope y'all have too.
He
Because,
took notes.
you know, yeah.
The Yoni Master took
It's gonna go
notes. Fuck you, me. So, Snow, was that all for your pleasure?
That was it for our pleasure. Just
I love
enjoy
it.
the
I
body.
love how it was sweet,
Explore
nice,
the
and
body.
ready to get to it. You
Yes.
know, that shit was nice. I like that. Give me some.
Give me some.
Anyway,
Okay, I can't.
no,
This nigga.
that nigga over there.
That nigga over here, though.
Yeah, you know, we gonna find a new acronym instead of thought for
What?
that nigga over there.
That nigga over there. That's all you Yoni Master.
To not. That's what you are.
I like
To
it.
not.
Anyway. British. Snot.
Brand
I think not. Anyway, yo, appreciate you, Patrick. I appreciate that whole time for real, man.
Yes.
But I'm gonna tell y'all like this. We about to sign off, man. Listen, like I said, I hope you've been paying attention to us. We are definitely gonna bring you that cutting edge. We're gonna definitely help you with your relationships. Keep your relationships, as well as give you just some insight on things that you need to try, man. Make sure you watch out because we have a lot of things coming to you. We got, the Yoni Masters book. We also might have another book in motion that might be taking place, but I'm not going to drop it yet. I'm going to just leave that for y'all to go ahead and inquire about. Now,
It's coming.
you dig.
The book is coming? Yeah?
It's coming.
Really?
Yes.
Sounds good.
It sounds like that should be the name,
So-
Coming.
Yeah, well, you know what? We ain't even gonna
Oh.
talk about it.
Anyway,
We
let's
won't
not.
give
Whoa,
away too much.
I mean,
But,
yeah, that's,
Anyway,
that's good.
what-
I like it.
Be
Nah.
sure
Spelled
to subscribe.
Yes.
I was just about to get
Like-
that. I'm sorry.
Y'all about to
Subscribe, subscribe,
Subscribe.
like, and share this episode
Change
because
the
really
button
and
too,
truly,
that
man, we really want to see what y'all really think. If y'all are really sharing this with these people, man, share this with your peoples, man, because
man,
they
give
really
them some
need to
good
get.
sex life, you know?
Yeah, they need to get this info, man. Because to be honest, man, we have too many relationships breaking up. We got too many friendships breaking up. Like,
You know what? Really quick, sorry to interrupt.
Go
The
ahead.
thing that I sent you guys today, did you see it? That there's
yes,
a
I did. I did.
Listen,
Yes.
this is
Yo,
real,
that-
people.
damn,
It's an epidemic.
I was actually
Real
gonna
quick,
save
real
that for the
quick.
next
Tell 'em.
show.
Okay, all right, never
But
mind.
it's cool. No, it's coming.
No,
I'm
real quick.
glad that you actually mentioned it.
Okay.
We gonna next week. We gonna tell them what we gonna talk about.
Next week, we're going to talk about how there's a sex drought
Do you
in
understand?
the United States of America.
Do
Not
you
in Europe,
understand?
people.
No,
Not in China.
no.
In the United States of America.
United States of fucking
It's
America.
real. It's real.
That's why we doing this for y'all.
Yes.
Horrible.
It's
Enjoy
horrible.
each other. Yo, you
Yeah.
only live once, you
Yeah.
know?
For real.
Love hard, fuck harder.
That's
And
probably
get your
why.
bag.
That's probably why we got so much fucking ignorance in this country right now.
That's very true.
Love hard, fuck harder.
And get your bag.
Yeah,
And get your
yeah,
bag.
man.
You forgot about
Definitely.
the get your bag part.
Gotta get.
Fuck harder. Get your
He
bag.
don't even care about the bag. He just like,
Damn.
I'm gonna get the bag.
I'm love him, but
Right. The
But
bag
for
is
real,
necessary.
man, we signing off, man. I appreciate all of y'all that have actually tuned in.
For real. Patrick
We
says
love
no
y'all.
episode. Thank you, Patrick.
I
got
appreciate
Roddy
it.
taking notes too. Thank
You know what I'm
you.
saying?
Oh, Roddy was taking notes? Okay.
So what else? No.
Appreciate it.
Get the Nate. You got
Yo, hey yo, so it's your boy DJ Biggs. Hello, I'm signing off with my two co-hosts.
That's Snow.
Okay, that's me. Snow.
I'm about to say, like, where she at? Where she at?
I was in my
Sorry,
zone.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, she oh, there she go.
Right.
There she go.
Yeah.
She's trying to hurry up and make it home.
Right? I'm telling you.
She probably wet as fuck right now. She trying. Never mind.
And I'm
Right?
your boy.
It's not.
I'm your
Okay.
boy, Shatadon.
Yes.
Guy with the Yoni plan. You'll stay around, you know, and learn more about this video that's coming up.
For real, man.
All right.
Holla at me.
Peace.
Oh,
Bye.
but
Mwah.
later.
Love y'all.
I don't care if I never win a Grammy. I just need to be my understanding. No, I wanna feed my family. I just need to be my understanding. People walking with me like Tammy. I just need to be my understanding. Wanna be a bitch on